What if I told you that one of Ford's most powerful engines from the golden age of muscle cars has been living in the shadows all these years? Produced between 1969 and 1974, the Boss 351 had everything: raw power, advanced engineering, and a racing pedigree that should have made it a legend. Yet, it never got the attention it truly deserved. Why? Let's uncover the shocking truth about the Boss 351 Cleveland. The muscle car wars and Ford's response. The late 1960s were all about muscle cars. Automakers were pushing boundaries, building bigger, faster, and more powerful engines to dominate both the streets and the track. Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler were in a heated battle, with each brand vying to create the ultimate performance machine. Ford, under the leadership of visionaries like Lee Iacocca and Carroll Shelby, needed a Mustang that could take on Chevrolet's Camaro Z28 and Pontiac's GTO. They had already found success with the big block FE engines and the smaller Windsor V8s, but there was a gap in between. That's where the Boss 351 came in. The Boss 351 wasn't just another engine. It was Ford's answer to the growing demand for a high-performance, mid-sized V8 that could go toe-to-toe with anything GM or Chrysler threw at it. And in many ways, it succeeded. Except, it never got the limelight it deserved. Birth of the Cleveland engine. Before we dive into what made the Boss special, let's talk about its roots. The Cleveland engine plant in Ohio became the birthplace of Ford's next great engine, the 351 Cleveland. Introduced in 1969, the Cleveland was meant to be a more advanced alternative to the 351 Windsor. Unlike the Windsor, which was based on an older small block design, the Cleveland was engineered for high-performance applications from the start. It had larger intake and exhaust ports, canted valves for improved airflow, and a stronger block with high nickel content for durability. These features made it a favorite among racers and street enthusiasts alike. Power and performance. Now, let's talk numbers. The Boss 351 Cleveland was a beast, with 351 cubic inches, 5.8 liters of displacement. This high-revving V8 churned out 330 horsepower and 370 pound-feet of torque. That was serious power for the time. A big part of this performance came from its cutting-edge features: open-chamber cylinder heads for better combustion efficiency, a high-flow intake, manifold paired with a 4-barrel Autolite 4300 carburetor, a high-lift solid lifter camshaft, allowing for aggressive valve timing, a top-loader 4-speed manual transmission, known for precise shifting, 3.91-to-1 rear axle gears, delivering aggressive acceleration. These features made the Boss 351 not only a powerhouse on paper, but a monster on the road and track. The engine loved high RPMs and could easily take on its competition, whether in a straight-line race or on winding circuits. Key innovations and engineering mastery. Ford engineers took inspiration from the Boss 302 when designing the Cleveland, incorporating technology that was ahead of its time. One of the biggest innovations was the canted valve design, which allowed for massive intake and exhaust ports. This gave the Boss 351 exceptional breathing ability, making it a high RPM powerhouse. The engine block was cast with high nickel content, improving strength and durability, key factors for racing applications. Engineers also raised the camshaft position, which made room for shorter, stiffer push rods. This improved valvetrain stability at high RPMs, allowing the engine to rev higher without losing efficiency or reliability. With a bore of 4.00 inches and a stroke of 3.50 inches, the Boss 351 had a perfect balance between quick revving capability and broad power delivery. It was an engine built for serious performance. But it wasn't just about speed, it was about precision and endurance. The different versions of the Cleveland engine. Ford released multiple variations of the 351 Cleveland to cater to different markets. Here's a breakdown of the key versions. H-Code 2, V version. This was the base model with a 2-barrel carburetor. It had smaller intake ports and a lower compression ratio, making it ideal for everyday driving. It produced between 240 and 250 horsepower. M-Code 1970 to 1971. The M-Code was the standard 4-barrel Cleveland, with larger intake ports and higher compression. It made around 300 horsepower and was featured in cars like the Mustang Match. R-Code 1971, the Boss 351. This was the peak performance version, with an 11.0 to 1 compression ratio, a high-lift camshaft, and a 4-barrel carburetor. It pumped out 330 horsepower. This version was exclusive to the Mustang Boss 351. Q code 1972 to 1974 Cobra Jet. As emissions regulations tightened, Ford introduced the Cobra Jet. It had lower compression but retained performance-focused features like a nodular iron crankshaft. It produced around 266 net horsepower, but remained a favorite among enthusiasts. Racing dominance. The Boss 351 and its Cleveland siblings saw massive success in various racing disciplines. NASCAR. Teams like Wood Brothers Racing used the Cleveland to secure major victories, including David Pearson's iconic 1976 Daytona 500 win. Drag racing. NHRA Pro Stock legend. Bob Glidden relied on the Cleveland's tunability to dominate the quarter mile. Trans Am and road racing. The Boss 351 proved its endurance in road racing thanks to its high-revving nature and robust construction. Bathurst 1000. In Australia, the Cleveland-powered Falcon Gito won the grueling Bathurst 1000 race, solidifying its legacy. The fall of the Boss 351. Despite its success, the Boss 351 had a short-lived production run. Why? Several factors led to its demise. Tightening emissions regulations in the early 70s meant muscle cars were losing power. Rising insurance costs made high-performance cars less attractive to buyers. A shifting market focus led Ford to prioritize more mainstream models. Economic downturns meant fewer people were buying gas-guzzling muscle cars. Only 1,806 Boss 351 Mustangs were ever made, making it one of the rarest and most desirable Mustangs today. Over time, the Boss 351 became a collector's dream, but its brief production run meant it never got the recognition it truly deserved. The Cleveland lives on. Even after US production ended, the Cleveland engine continued to make waves in Australia. The Falcon XB and XC carried on its legacy, with models like the Phase 4 GTHO achieving legendary status. And of course, who could forget the Mad Max Interceptor, which featured a modified Cleveland engine, legacy, and modern upgrades. Today, the 351 Cleveland remains one of the most sought-after engines for restorations and custom builds. Enthusiasts have found ways to extract even more power, using ported heads and modern camshafts, aftermarket fuel injection systems for better efficiency and throttle response, stroker kits to increase displacement and boost torque, Cleaver hybrids, pairing Cleveland heads with Windsor blocks for the best of both worlds. Even decades later, the Boss 351 continues to inspire a new generation of car enthusiasts, racers, and engine builders. The Boss 351 Cleveland was an engine that had it all: power, innovation, and racing pedigree. But it was overshadowed by bad timing and changing regulations. So, was it truly the one that got away? Or is it just a legend in the making? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching.